And we are live. I'd like to welcome everybody to Out of the Box podcast. I'm your host, Jim Andre. I'm here with my co-host, Bradley Powers, and today we have special guest, Christopher Shira. How you doing, Chris?
I'm all right. How are you?
Good, thank you. How you doing, Bradley?
I'm all right, thank you. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be on your show, Jim Andre, Out of the Box, with Christopher Shira, highly evolved love, and we shall be
trying to be. Trying to be.
discussing conspiracy theories, paranormal phenomena, extraterrestrials, and spirituality. And we'll be taking questions from my timeline. Thank you.
No.
Yeah.
What was that?
Midnight Paranormal Tours. Hello, Midnight Paranormal.
Okay.
Excuse me, I'll do it.
White or black? Like just the box. Like, is it in a
How you
box?
doing, Vic?
White with yellow. Okay.
So what's new with you, Chris?
That's what I was just about to check.
What's up?
What's new with you?
What's going on?
Yeah, what's new? What's new?
Yeah.
Anyway?
What's the
I'm
dealio?
gonna have to go in the other room. I can't hear. Hold on, I can't hear you guys. Hold on. Maybe I'll just go outside. Hold on. There, that's better.
Oh,
I
God.
was just asking you, what's new with you? Anything?
It's
You
like,
guys are really quiet. I can't hear you.
I don't know. I hear Bradley. I hear you. Bradley, you hear me all right?
I can hear you. I can hear you both
Oh,
clearly.
it's because it's on my freaking my earpiece is the one that's hold on, I gotta change the audio.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, yeah, I don't like
Okay. All right.
There we go. That's better. I've been doing all right, you know. I'm hanging in there. I'm just switched my license over today, or my license plate on my truck over today, so it's now in my name. I'm waiting on a new plate because the old plate was in her name, so I'm just getting all that stuff taken care of. And I just got $1,000 on my paycheck, so I'm thinking about looking for my own little place or getting my truck fixed with it. I would rather have a place to drive, like a thing to drive, because I have a buddy that's gonna offer me a couch or something for a little bit. But you know, sure beats it'll beat sleeping in the front seat of a pickup truck.
So what does your truck need? A head gasket?
Yes,
Yeah.
head gasket, maybe a fuel pump. But I mean, I get it fixed, and like I can get a little camper for the back of it or something, you know, and or I can go down to Pull and Save and get me a bumper, and I can weld the bumper back on and then tow a camper behind it, and I wouldn't have to worry about like buying or renting my own place. I could just pull my house behind my truck, you know.
Yeah.
And, like go wherever I want and sleep wherever I want. At least until like things level out and blow over.
Yeah.
Anyways, so like positive inspiration is like what I'm about nowadays. Like what I like to do is raise the spirits of other people, you know, regardless if I practice what I preach or not. Like the information comes first, you know. Like how did the old seers and priests actually get the messages in the first place? It comes from source, right? The frequency trickles down, it enters into your mind, and then your mind has to decipher that and figure out how it's going to present that energy, you know, because everything's energy.
Yeah, everything comes
so,
from source. Yeah.
Yeah. So like you have to understand. So like the energy comes in it turns into a message. Man, that's got to stop. Interrupting me. Sorry. The information comes first. You understand that you basically you dissect what it is that it's presenting to you, and then you have to relay that message in words where people will understand it. That's the problem I have, is like breaking it down to a comprehensible like
it's a layman's
format,
terms.
you know?
Yeah, it's a layman's terms.
Yeah, right. Kindergarten words, basically. And
Taiwan's very good at this sort of stuff. Actually.
so I have to, like, when I speak these things, and I'm making people like say, "Oh yeah, you're right. You know, you're absolutely correct," or whatever. I'm not doing that for validation. I don't need nobody's validation. Just to make this clear, I don't do it for attention, because I could say something, but like maybe if I was getting the attention I needed, I would go elsewhere for it, But I'm not like that. I'm not like that with it.
Right.
It's like I am an aspiring artist, which means my ideas are genuine. They come from somewhere, and we all know where that somewhere is from. It's not like, oh, it's coming from hell, man. Yeah, woo. No.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be funny. But I sit there, I meditate on it, and a lot of the times when I meditate, it's not like sitting here going, It's not like a meditation like that. It's more like channeled messages. Like when I write, it'll be a lot of meditative writing. When I'm walking and like doing inner dialogue, like soulful talking with myself, self-talk.
Well, I'm sure every now and then you probably just get something out of the blue anyway, right?
Well, yeah.
Unexpected, yeah.
Well, the antennas here are all sticking up, so there's something going on. Gotta mat them back down real quick. But no,
we all receive information. We just have different ways of
interpreting
it and what it means, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, I call it ESP, extrasensory perception. Like sometimes I can see the energy going up the trees, or kind of like scurrying across the tops of the grass and the plants and all that. Like in the early morning and right like at sunrise and then sunset. It's like dusk and dawn type thing. That's when the energy can be seen the best.
Yeah.
And
that's when the transformation is taking place.
Yeah. And so like I haven't been reading a lot of stuff lately. Just like I've been trying to focus on myself and stay off of Facebook for the most part, even though I do get on periodically through the day, but I'm not like stuck on my phone all the day now.
Yeah,
I got other things I'm doing.
Facebook users asking, are all your downloads of a positive nature?
Yeah. Well, I'm actually going to be quitting Facebook after, in a day or two. I have to keep my words, man. And like, just because I don't have Facebook doesn't mean that I can't still do podcasts and stuff like that.
No.
I'm just not going to be.
No, Chris, what I said was a Facebook user is asking, are all your downloads of a positive nature?
Are all my downloads of a positive nature? Most of them. A lot of them will offend people too, because with me, it's like I don't like to take things personally, so I don't get offended too much. It's one of the 4 agreements. I'm actually doing that on my podcast right now. I'm reading the book. I'm doing chapter by chapter with a new episode on my podcast for each chapter of the book. There's only 4 chapters, so really, but I'm getting into the book. I'm making it into an audiobook because I'm reading it to you. I'm like basically holding the book, reading it to you. And explaining certain spots in the book that trigger me a response. So I respond accordingly to certain parts in the book. Like, don't take things personally and take offense to things. There you go. And then I'd stop and I'll make a comment on that little bit. Like, when we take offense to something, usually means, I won't say that. I'll rephrase that. 100% of the time, it means that we have that issue. You know, if I'm speaking of a certain situation and it doesn't have nothing to do with you or you, but you feel that, like you've connected to that and it upset you for some reason, but even though you weren't involved in that at all, it would trigger a response because you have been in that situation before, or
Right.
you you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't apologize for speaking the truth and offending people. I'm not going to apologize for, you know, being the true and rightful person that I am. Like, I don't go around lying to people. You know, I don't speak a false message to people. I don't influence people to go out and rob or be mad and hurtful to other people. I don't do that. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not hurting anybody by speaking, you know. Now, if I was saying,
Well,
you need to go over
Letitia,
there and rob the bank or something, then yeah, you could say you're a negative person. You don't have a connection, or you know, like, but what I'm doing is basically speaking from my heart, you know, speaking from my heart what true is to me, you know, and
yeah. Now,
it
Letitia Lewis,
constantly changes. Huh?
Letitia Lewis is asking what book.
It's
Explain a
called The
little
Four
bit.
Agreements.
Yeah, explain a
It's
little
called The
bit
Four
about your
Agreements. It's
book.
by it's written by Don Miguel Ruiz. It's a Toltec wisdom book. It's called The Four Agreements. Actually, Corey gave it to me to read for a little bit. I got to give it back to her when I'm done. But while I have it, I'm reading it and I'm putting it on the air as I'm reading it. I mean, I can't monetize that or nothing. It's not my work, but I just thought it would be cool to, you know, read the book and have everybody follow along and read it with me and like kind of like change it up. I like change. I like something new all the time. Not with relationships and stuff. Like with my daily endeavors, I like to change it up. I don't like being stagnant. It just stagnation causes misery and chaos and destruction. You know, so you got to constantly be busy or moving around, be active. Um,
Now,
it really
Letitia is also asking, okay, when? In other words, when are you going to be doing the show?
well I just did one yesterday.
How many more
You
chapters
can
you got
find.
to go?
I have two more. I got 3 and 4. The third and fourth agreements left to read. I've got. If you look in ambiguous circumspection on Facebook, which I think I changed it to Cognizant Sapience, like my YouTube channel. It's too long. Ambiguous circumspection means cryptic wisdom in the short term. So it's like I'm using intelligent words to say small words, which is pretty cool. It's like it gets people thinking, you know.
Yeah.
The next one will be, I could do that either before work or I can do that when I get off work, which will be between, I don't know, whenever we get out of here and go back down to my parking lot. I'm gonna go take a shower here in a minute after this podcast. I'm gonna go take a
Well,
shower and
you post the upcoming show anyway before it airs, right? Before it streams.
I try to. But see, like StreamYard's being weird now. I'll schedule a stream to go to my 2 Facebook profiles on my YouTube channel, and the Facebook doesn't really post like it used to. Like you could stream straight to Facebook, but now it's setting up an event, and you have to go to the event and start the event, and then go back to StreamYard and start that StreamYard. But it's weird. I don't understand that. So like maybe they're not posting, or maybe they're not even. You know what I'm saying?
Someone would like to know: is it intense? The agreement you're talking about?
Well, see, it's okay. It's about like, okay, we all grow up being told certain things, being taught certain things, and we make agreements with these certain things as we grow up. And some of these agreements most of them are fear-based agreements. And the best way to break these curses is to first, all right, the very first agreement is be impeccable with your words. That means be without sin. That means you don't go around spitting venom to people and poisonous words. I'm guilty of that myself. I get mad. I can't watch my tongue. I'm just being honest. And I never meant to curse people like I have. It's just like, don't jump my ass if you don't want to get some of it back, because, there's nothing right. No two wrongs make a right, So like cyberbullies and shit, like I don't really care what they have to say. They don't know me as a person. I'm just saying this real quick. So yeah, be impeccable with your words. Mean what you say and say what you mean. Try to do it without sin. Without sin, like without wax. It's a Roman term, or it's a Latin term. Basically, be as perfect as you can when you explain stuff with as much detail, because you can't learn math just by sitting down and saying, okay, 175 times 350 divided by 2.7. You can't learn math just sitting down and looking at the problem and trying to solve it. You have to actually educate yourself on it. You have to, work your way up to that level. A lot of people jump into the game and think that they know what they're doing and all that. And like, I'm still new. I'm starting as small as I can. I do have a lot of knowledge that I don't know where it comes from, but I'm not like bragging about that. I have ideas. Ideas come from the great spirit.
Someone is saying honesty is noble. Keep going.
Well, honesty is all I can be. I was raised to not lie, cheat, or steal. Those were my 3 rules growing up.
Yeah. They also say
No
anger
lying,
has to be
cheating, or
controlled. It's an ego-based emotion.
Okay, well, no, that's not true. Anger is something that happens when people provoke you. I don't go around town being angry with everybody. Certain people want to poke a button and they want to deny that they poked that button just to get a reaction out of you. Okay? And if they want to do that and be a punk and intentionally provoke you to reacting a certain way so they can use that against you as fuel, that's a narcissistic trait. They'd always do that to people. They want to fucking get a rise out of you, just to, oh yeah, he's very much alive. Look at him. He's got emotions. He's got depth. He's got tone difference in his voice. He's not just monotone and quiet and speaking in slow, choppy words that hardly make any sense. And, you got to have emotion. You have to. Anger is an emotion. It's also, I don't think it's ego-based, really, because if somebody's wanting to fight you or pushes you down, pisses you off, right? It makes you mad. So, like, what are you going to do? You're going to just let them hump you in the butt, or are you going to fight back? You're going to speak up and defend yourself. I'm not a pussy. I'm not a pushover. Even if my own mom was being that way to me, I would tell my mom where to put it. But my mom would never treat me like that. I'm just saying, as an example, like if my mom or my sister or my dad or anybody wanted to treat me horribly for no reason, just because I'm on here doing this, they would help me. They would lift me up. They would congratulate me. Good job, Christopher. You did a good job. They wouldn't say, you don't live that way. You don't keep those words. Blah, 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 blah. Why are you so fake and fraud and a liar? You don't live to those standards. Not yet, I don't. I'm trying to. That's what my biggest argument is. I'm trying to be a better person. I'm trying to present a better idea of life and trying to practice that. But how can you practice that when someone's constantly pushing you off, pushing you down, and then like call you up and laugh at you? You're suicidal. Good, you go kill yourself, kind of thing. Like, whatever. So like, I'm not a bad guy just as much as anybody else is. We all can be, we all can be just as evil as the next person, or we can be just as holy. It's like polarity, You can't have a magnet without a positive and a negative pole. You can cut that negative pole off all you want. It's still going to be a negative pole. You know, we can't understand one side if we don't understand the other side. It's like,
well, that's right. You
that's
can't.
how
You can't experience positive. You can't experience positivity if you don't know what negativity is.
Right. And me, I know what negativity is. I've lived negativity growing up, from bullies, gang stalkers. Yeah, I'll call them gang stalkers. That's exactly what they are. They hear you talking like this and they come and bully you and they start making personal attacks at you, not even knowing you. You know, if people actually sat down, hello everybody, if people actually sat down with you and got to know you as a person instead of what you are on the outside, you know, that's where this society is going down, dude. Like, everybody's superficial and they're all egotistical, self-righteous. What do you call it?
Yeah, that's just a generalization.
Self-entitlement.
You're saying everybody. That's just a generalization. Actually, not everybody's like that.
Yeah, well,
Not
there's no
everybody,
doubt.
no.
There's no doubt that the world's going to hell in a handbasket.
It's going to hell with a conscience, is what it's doing. It's everybody's either has a conscience, but we're so unconsciously conscious that we're making foolish decisions with our governments, and that's what's really driving us down further. We're electing these worthless leaders that are just wanting to fill their pockets. You know, they're not helping the country. They're not helping the people. You know, real kings and queens, they listened to the people and what the people wanted. You know, they listened to their people.
Well, they couldn't have listened to them that well because every kingdom that ever rose throughout history has fallen. So
that's all faction wars too.
It's a phenomenon that continually repeats itself.
Right. Well, it's because there's always a black widow in the kingdom somewhere that's causing.
Our current day society is not going to be any different. The only difference is going to be is in how it falls and with what intensity.
Right. Well, if there wasn't serpents in the walls,
become it.
What's that?
One should embrace the ego and not become it. That's what Lucifer even suggests. Embrace the ego, don't become it. And that's easier said than done, but it is possible.
Okay. That can be very misconstrued and confused. And embrace your ego, and as in love your ego, and don't be all about your ego. No, but you need a little bit of ego for survival, like to get you up out of bed in the morning, to put your feet on the cold floor. That's ego that does that for you. That's not your drive to survive. That's
motivation, willpower.
Sticking up for yourself is ego. Huh?
You mustn't get ego confused with motivation and willpower and goals.
Right. Yeah, you're not supposed to get your ego. See, ego is really like almost not even needed. You know, it's in my opinion, it's like I've had ego death. It's not very fun, and it's scary because you're literally admitting to everything you've ever done in your life instead of denying everything you've ever done. And when you admit things, you get more respect for one. You respect yourself. You start feeling better about yourself. Like, hey, that felt really good to get that out, you know?
Well, when all other species are born, right, they're born slaves. They're born slaves to what? They're born slaves to survival, right? But humans, when they're born, they got a double whammy. They're not only slaves.
We're born into slavery
let me finish. They're not They're not only slaves to survival, they're also slaves to society.
Exactly.
Yeah, come in a bit now.
And you owe $42,000 the minute you're born. Isn't that something?
Yeah,
did you know that?
You're not born
because
free.
Of birth certificates. That's
and right. And
hospital births.
There's no such thing as being born free either.
Not unless you have a midwife.
As soon as you're born, you got a birth certificate, you're issued a social security number, and you're instantly
unless you stay out of the hospital. Unless you're not born in the hospital and you're born with a midwife at home with no paperwork, they don't even know you exist. But guess what? Check this out. I learned just recently that the Vatican holds all the records, birth and death records of everybody, and they know exactly who you are the second you're born because of your death record. Did you know that? They know how many times you've been reborn on this planet because of your birth and death records. They have files of everybody on the world, how many times they've died, who they were in their past life, you know, what their name was, when they were born, when they died,
And
how long they're going to be dead for, when they're going to be reborn.
And how do they know that? How do they come to that conclusion?
Because of the certificates and the social security numbers. If they didn't have that in effect, they wouldn't know who we were, you know. But
yeah, but you're saying in a previous life. You're saying in a previous life. Who you were in a previous life. How would they know that?
No, because of the birth and death certificates. They know who you were.
The only people that know about your previous life would be the Akashic Records Library.
Because of the social security number they attach to you, that's the number they're following. And then when you're born again,
I mean, that doesn't stay with you for the next life.
No, the number doesn't, but they keep track of it with the numbers and the certificates. I didn't believe it at first either, but I did a poking around with it, and it's something that I learned on one of those channels that should be banned, but it's not banned. One of those secret channels that I find all the time. Generation Z on YouTube. Check that out. He's the one that I learned that from, I think. But it's right off of the Bibliotheca Pleiades that I use as a database. It's an archive database. I double check my work. I check my sources, and I use 3 different archives to check my sources. They're not all linked together. They have no affiliation with each other. And so when I check my sources of like how accurate I am, like I will check these databases for the key phrases or the keywords that I have in my head, you know, like something about a rainbow city, and then like North Pole, hole in the world that goes to the center is kind of like where it resides. It's like where this inhabitation is. And then if Chris, I go into, yes.
Chris, what do you think about over the ice wall? There's other continents.
Let's see. So Admiral Byrd was down
over the ice wall. There's other continents. Yeah, possibly like centaurs, mentors exist and all that. This is all hypothetical, but some believe
hypothetical.
Yeah, hypothetical. Yeah.
So okay, I
not
believe
impossible.
This is how I believe.
It's not impossible.
I have. It is quite possible. I wasn't going to dock it. I wasn't going to say no. I was saying I have 2 different theories that I believe in. All right. I can't prove either one of them because we don't know for sure. We've never been to space as a person like you or me. I haven't been up above, you know.
Do you know the Earth?
I've climbed the tallest mountain that I could find.
NASA has one picture of the Earth and they doctor it regular, but they only have one actual picture of the Earth.
Right. Well, I think the world's a lot bigger than they give us, you know. Yeah. Each one of these little domes that they talk about, the ice wall has a gap in it, and you can travel through the ice wall to another realm on the other side, and then that one is a bubble also, and that one's connected to another bubble. There's like 73 or 76 bubbles out there. There's over 300,000 different worlds, cities or whatever along this planet. So it's like each one has their own setup. It's weird. It's like if you looked at the old map.
I won't swear, but some people, I read it today, Jim McFarlane was one of them, and many others following suit, to say it's baloney, as Judge Judy would say. The ice wall, there's continents, the other side of the ice wall, that's baloney. Well, actually, you could not say that because you don't know. We don't know.
Daisy,
Daisy, you're a remote viewer, astral projectionist, channeler. You may know then.
Daisy's asking, did you guys read that the core of the Earth is spinning?
Wow. Well, see, that's where I thought the electromagnetism came from, was from the core of the world, where I don't really believe that there's magma in the middle of the world. I don't. I think it's just like in Antarctica, they have this Nazi base that has a mercury reactor in it that controls the temperature of the core. And if they turned it off, the core will stop. It'll solidify, and it'll cause world catastrophes and all that kind of stuff. And when they turn it back up, the mercury starts warming up the core and melts the rock again. That's how I'm thinking it works, because like, what is this device or this facility even used for? You know what I'm saying? Like, why would they need a mercury reactor? What's it? Are they building spaceships down there? Good idea, good theory.
A lot of the knowledge presented to us comes from mainstream media programs, which we're programmed to watch, television, newspapers, Twitter, the website, the internet. That's where our information, well, many people's information comes from those directions. And how true is the source? And how do they know? We have to rely on the government for information. And when you learn our history is a lie, it begs the question, what is the actual truth?
Right. So I'm reading through these comments right here.
David Nash says, so does every planet have devices for its core?
Say again?
David Nash says, so does every planet have devices for its core?
I couldn't tell you.
I don't think a planet would need a device. A planet is natural.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, but like with the manipulation of this world, you know, they're trying to change the frequency so their kind can live here and survive. You know, why do they need to geoengineer a planet that has life on it? You know, why do they have to have these? Yeah, it's my point proven. It's right there. Why do they need to geoengineer something that has human life on it if there's not something else being introduced to our ecosystem that needs the change to happen in order for them to live here too? Makes perfect sense.
David Nash says, I don't think the Earth is that special, really. Millions of Earth-like planets.
Right.
Melville Pereira says, if the core stopped spinning, you wouldn't get the aurora
borealis. Yes. Okay.
Everything is debatable.
I feel. So I'm reading the comments really quick. Somebody can tell me what the ego is good for. I can understand that, but like everybody says, lose your ego, bro. You have too much ego. You're all ego based, but then there's people that say, I love my ego, and without the ego, you're nobody. And so, what is it then? Really, what's the ego for? What does it help you with? It makes you stuck up and shit. You're better than everyone else. That's ego right there too. So I mean, what is the ego good for besides proving that you're better than somebody?
Self-importance, arrogance to beat the ego.
Right. Like, see, the way I feel, I could have all these conditions and all these things wrong with me, but as long as I'm not out there hurting somebody else or putting them in danger or talking crap about them, or you know what I'm saying? There should be nothing wrong with getting along.
You could have a good ego or a bad ego. Ego is someone's sense of their own worth.
Someone's who of their own worth?
Their sense of their own worth. Your ego recognizes your sense of your own worth. You could feel yourself, your self-importance, your self-esteem. Is that healthy or unhealthy? It's healthy to recognize yourself. Your own sense of worth. That is healthy. How many people recognize their own sense of worth?
All right, we're going to take a short break for a short commercial.
Okay.
Okay, we're back.
And that was a short commercial break from Parafam Entertainment.
I was reading more of the comments from
Offering
y'all right break
solutions.
here, and so I
Okay.
want to start at the top. I want to start at the top and read these comments. I'm sure the people watching can follow along. So the first comment I have is from Midnight Paranormal 2. Hello. And then from Vic, why are they Facebook users though? I was thinking like, are those people I have blocked or have blocked me, but are watching on your show?
I don't know. Some come through with a name, some don't on whatever platforms, I guess. Yeah.
The question about is it intense, the agreement you're talking about, the 4 agreements that I'm talking about will literally save your soul from enslavement completely. It'll rewire your entire belief system. It will allow you to let go of fear-based agreements that you learned as a kid growing up, from religion, from other books and all that kind of stuff that fear you into believing it. Like, you're going to go to hell, blah, 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 blah. There's no hell. Sorry. Okay. Honesty is noble. Keep going. Anger has to be controlled. It's an ego-based emotion, but I don't feel that's accurate all the way. It's definitely an emotion, but I don't think it's from ego because, like, kill or be killed, you know? It's like, you're going to let somebody kill you, you're going to get enraged and kill them. You know, if they're going to kill you, it's like kill or be killed. If that's the subject.
Well, self-defense. I mean, that's
self-defense. That's yeah. Is that an ego thing?
I
think that's a survival thing.
David Temponi says the ego drives certain qualities like tenacity and grit.
Okay. What about would it be?
You got your good egos, you got your bad egos, really.
Right. Well, like ego could also be like addiction problems and stuff like that too. Could be ego driven, you know, ego based addictions. You know, like everybody holding their phones is an addiction. You know, me smoking my vape is an addiction. But see, I like to be addicted to positive stuff, like positive aspirations, inspiring people. You know, like I know I've helped a couple of people.
Appearing on out of the box, that's an addiction.
Huh?
Appearing on out of the box, that's an addiction for me and Jim.
You know what I'm saying though? I like to be addicted to something positive. I like spreading a positive word, you know, whether I just discovered this and I'm excited to talk about it and I haven't really applied it yet because I don't know anything about it yet. I don't know enough. I don't know the steps to take in order to get there. So like I talk about it first and then I just devise a plan on how to get to that point, you know, because like I was saying before, the information comes first. Then the steps on how to utilize that information come next. You know, and then applying it to your life comes last because you have to fully understand something. You don't want to go work on a car without knowing the schematics of the engine and just blindly work on a motor and then screw it up even more. No, you need to read the book. You need to study the engine. You need to apply the knowledge to the engine so you can fix it properly. You don't just speak of something and then, oh, you're there. No, you have to practice. It takes repetition. And it's like working out. You can't build muscle without working out, or, you know, you can't become a better person without practicing to be a better person. You know, it doesn't happen overnight.
Melville Pereira says, what if you don't have an ego? In Buddhist teachings, it explains how to get rid of your ego. I lived in Buddhist countries, non-Christian countries.
Right. Let's see. Well, I'm glad I'm not getting blown up with a bunch of texts right now. That's one thing.
Sarah Gifts is asking Christopher, may I ask you something, please?
Yes, you may.
Well, the reason why you're on the show is because you're very intellectual, knowledgeable, esoteric. I recognize a lot of what you say, and whether I agree on this or don't agree, I'm open-minded to the concept of all things, and I'm open-minded to a lot of what you share.
Well, that's what having an open mind is for, dude. If I didn't have an open mind, I would be challenging everybody and their minuscule little belief that they want to challenge mine, but I don't do that to hardly anybody. I'm passionate about what I what I discover, what I want to change about myself. Like, this is important.
Yeah.
Like, I want to make,
Passion,
I want
that's
to
right.
feel, I want it to make me feel important. I want somebody else to make me feel important because of it. And I want to share that with the person that I'm with also, because that's what partnerships do. We're supposed to lift each other up, not tear each other down, you know? And
And
like me
me and
knowing
Jim have
this,
tried for many years because we are passionate. And that's
yes,
what our viewers like, is passion in your heart and soul about what you're sharing.
Sarah Gifts is asking, do you believe in spirit guidance?
spirit guides,
Guidance. Spirit
guidance, like
guidance. Yeah.
guiding somebody in a spiritual sense. I do
Yeah.
believe that. Yes. I also believe the soulful journey also is important, because the spirit and soul are two different aspects of the polarities also. Um, they intertwine, like the woman holds the soul, the man holds the spirit. When they find their soulmates and spirit mates, they have that connection, that magnetism towards each other that pulls them towards each other. They have that pull towards each other. Like, I know I have it. I know she has it. We're just arguing right now, you know, and whether or not, like, if I'm even right, but I feel I'm right, because like they haven't ignored me. They've given me these little things that I need to change if it's going to work. And I already said yes. Facebook's one of them. I'm putting it down. I'm going to do it. I have other social medias. I don't need Facebook. Not to be a jerk, but you know,
Yeah. Sarah
I think
said
things
guardian
don't have
angel.
Yeah.
anything.
And guardian angels, I can validate, are real. I have a guardian angel called Merlin, and spirit guides are real. We all have a guardian angel. We all have spirit guides, even though you may never
Right.
have met them. It doesn't mean they do not exist.
Yeah. Daisy says
My,
she's known hers personally.
That's cool. My grandpa, he was 95 when I seen him last, and it was a year later when he died. But him being that close to actually death, he said he had seen like 5 angels flying around me when I was visiting him. I was telling him of my experiences that I've been through and what I've learned from them, and the little visions that I've wrote down, and the stories that I've wrote that came from myself. They didn't come from no book. You know, they didn't come from the internet. It's like shit that I've tapped into within my own blood. You know, it's like an inward journey. You take an inward journey, you learn shit about yourself. You know, you learn where your flaws are. You learn to, you know, be humble about it. You know, I have a lot of flaws. I'm not scared to admit them. You know, it's like that's part of ego death, is you're not afraid to say, yeah, I've lied. I've I've stolen. I've never cheated. You know, I've went out on a date, but it didn't lead to anything. It was more like I was feeling like crap because all that was happening was a bunch of nonsense. And like right now, I don't know if it's even going to work out. So I'm not going to go out on another date with nobody. I learned from the first time. You know, I'd rather just sit here alone and be happy with being alone and let somebody
You need
else.
to learn to love yourself, Chris. That's what you need to do.
I
Love
do love
yourself.
myself. That's the thing. I love myself enough that I'm not going to let somebody punk me around and fuck me in the ass and try to get away with it. I love myself. I do.
David Nash says, I think saying you don't have an ego is egotistical. LOL. Everyone has
I
at
didn't
least
say
a
that I
little
have an
ego,
ego.
except maybe a sloth, I guess.
I have a swath, yeah, and I'm sure it shows sometimes, like, but I don't think it's egotistical to actually defend yourself and, you know, believe and fight for what you believe is right in your heart than what you think you know is right. So there's a difference. You feel the truth in your heart and you think you know the truth in your head. But when you line up everything with the heart, it's like that's what it says. When you function from the energy of love, you find the truth, you know? There's only 4 laws. There's truth, love, law, and justice. From the truth.
You have to
with
remember, we have our intuition, and your intuition is the compass to the soul.
right. Because the soul is very wise.
Intuition is message from the soul.
I did a healing session with Daisy the other day. How you doing, Daisy? Are you still feeling all right?
Yeah, the inward stuff is very important. I believe you
Not
need to
everyone is
exercise more
tuned
spirit.
to their intuition.
Bradley, this one's for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Sarah Gifts would like to know, would like me to share how strong our spirit is. She felt lucky. She, I can't even remember the name of what she, basically, Sarah gambled today 3 times and she won on every occasion by gambling 3 times, following her intuition and her spirit. The spirit gave her enlightenment to gamble and told her she would win, and she followed the advice of the spirit and she won 3 times by gambling.
Daisy says, great.
Yeah.
It was amazing, Jim. That's good, Daisy. I'm glad I could help.
I'm seeing Sarah Gift's comment up above. It says, "Oh my goodness, you just explained Bradley and I's relationship," and I see how ironic that certain conversations can lead into, touching a lot of people's hearts. I know that I've personally changed a few people's lives on the internet since I've started this whole thing, and one of them is Marin, and another one is Matthew, and another one is, I could keep naming people off, but these are people who've actually came to me personally and said, "You've actually changed my life with your teachings or what you talk about." And like, I'll be honest, I don't practice shit. All right, I don't practice shit. I don't have to, because it's already there. I know the difference is what I'm saying. I know the difference between somebody poking fun and somebody intentionally trying to poke me. There's a difference. It's the energy that they
Some
put. It's the
people
vibe they have.
enjoy poking you. Some people like
Well, then
going around poking.
those people should be poked
Just
back.
accept
And if
that,
they
man.
can't handle being poked back, then they shouldn't be doing any poking. They're going to be wimps and
Normally,
poke,
people
and
who
then
poke you for fun have got issues with themselves. They're probably
well,
unhappy with themselves or unhappy with their life, That's
anybody
why they
who's
poke
going to be
you.
a bully, does have problems. All right, they have abandonment issues. They have they weren't given enough attention. They got beat up by their dad or whatever.
Hi, Jim.
I've got abandonment issues. Yeah, I got picked on, but I'm not a bully. I do have a firm belief about who I am. I spent a lot of time with my grandparents. They both went to church regularly, like ritually, religiously. And I spent a lot of my summers with my grandparents and a lot of my other time with my mom and the babysitter. And sometimes I'd be with my dad, but it's like, I didn't grow up with my parents all that much, but I still turned out
No.
a good person,
Yeah, and me, yeah. My pet, I was dragged up. I wasn't raised, and yet I still turned out to be a good person.
I'm not.
It's different for everyone.
Like, when I'm a dick, I'm like trying to be one. All right. I'm not just a dick just because I don't like being that way, but when I'm confronting people about their accountabilities on stuff, I should be okay with that. It should be okay, because if people want to poke fun at me and judge me and ridicule me and whatever, then they should be able to take a little bit of that heat back. If you can't handle the heat, then don't poke the fun. You know what I'm saying? Like,
there's another one for you, Brad.
Yeah, Jim's been poking at me, but I understand he's got issues.
I heard.
Yeah, we're good,
That's a
Jim,
difference,
though.
It's a difference, though. There's a difference from him poking you and then, say, your wife poking and nagging at you for something constantly for being on her podcast. Coming on my podcast, Bradley, your girlfriend's bitching at you now just for coming on my podcast.
You gotta expect that when you have a honeydew this and honeydew that.
Right, but it's like once a week. When you make a show once a week, you don't really have
Christopher, you
a whole
seem
lot
to be
going,
much
really
happier and wholesome today.
I am much happier and wholesome today. Yes, I am. I'm just trying to make a couple of small points. Like, if I can be yelled at, then I can yell back. That's fair.
Yeah.
If I can be bullied, then I can bully verbally, and that's fair. I'm not gonna bully physically. I'm not like that. I'm just saying, like, I'm just trying to let people know who I am and what I'm about. Like, I'm not gonna just let people fuck me in the ass and get away with it. I'm gonna fuck them in the ass back, and they're gonna like it. You know, not like it like that, but I'm just saying, like, if you can't take a little bit of the medicine that you dish out to me, then don't fucking dish it out to me, because I'm gonna dish it out back. And if you don't like it, I hurt your little ego, then fuck off, because that's what I'm about. I'm not about to care if I hurt your ego or not. Your ego can fuck off. Is what I'm saying. Like, that's egotistical of me to say, but you know, that's good ego, because I'm not sitting here calling you a bad person because you yelled at me. Oh.
Yeah.
I was told to keep it down because there's neighbors. I'm always loud, but I'm just passionate. That's how I am. I had to come outside anyway. It was too loud in there. But
well,
I'm not trying to be a teacher. I'm not trying to be a leader or a teacher. I'm just trying to be me. I'm just trying to learn myself. And when I learn, I like to like. It's like okay, I got $50 to share with everybody. Everybody's getting $1 of this $50.
David
I'm
Nash
gonna pass out $1 to everybody.
David Nash says there goes the G rating. LOL.
Yeah, your language, Chris. Are you a hillbilly? Chris, are you a hillbilly?
Am I what?
A hillbilly.
I'm not a hillbilly, but I was definitely. Am I coming back in now? I already heard him.
Anyway, Chris.
What? We got 6 minutes left?
Yeah.
I got 7% left, so I mean.
All right.
Okay. I'm gonna sit in the car so I can talk louder. No. Not talk louder, just talk normal, I guess. There. That's a little better, probably. So, anybody have any questions for me before?
Says he's the hillbilly.
Ask me questions. Jump my case. Whatever. Let's get some shit solved here. Anybody got any issues with me? So before I get off of here, I will answer any questions right now. And questions they have.
Yeah,
for me.
I've got an issue with your language.
Okay, let's hear it. I'm sorry about my language. I will keep it down.
That's all right. It's okay.
No, it's not.
I should have said before the show, really.
Well, I apologize for my language.
Yeah, that's all right, Chris. Yeah. No, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. It really is. You're very esoteric, and like you've got a wide variety, a wide, diverse range of intelligence, which is good. You're very open-minded. That's what I like about you, and you enjoy helping people and sharing information.
I do.
That's another good thing.
These
are gifts and attributes you've got, Chris. Gifts and attributes.
I have a question from Daisy. I'm going to answer. I blocked you because I don't need everybody spying on my page, whether you did it or not. I had to get rid of her little group that was spying on me. I don't know who exactly was spying on me, so I deleted everybody.
You do know who's spying on you. You know, Christopher, who's been screenshotting your messages. You even told me, totally. But don't say her name.
Oh, yeah, that one person that I know for sure, but, there's other people too. But that person doesn't like me anyway, so I really don't care. Huh?
Do something about it. Really?
I'm not going to say nothing. It's like, I don't care if people don't like me. It's not going to bother me. It doesn't affect me as a person.
Daisy is sweet. Okay. Daisy wouldn't.
I know.
Daisy says
I know Daisy's a sweet person. I will unblock you then, Daisy. I apologize. I'll unblock both your accounts. I apologize for that. But like I said, I'm putting Facebook on.
Daisy is the wrong direction.
I'm not
Daisy's
deleting
the wrong
Facebook.
Direction.
Right. But I am going to put my account on hold until further notice. That means I'm going to put my account on freeze. None of my pages are going to be open. You can find me on YouTube. I'm going to try to do YouTube instead. I'm really close to monetizing my channel, and I will be making money off of my videos instead of like waiting and waiting and waiting. Like this is the goal that I've had with this whole podcast thing. my goal was to monetize, and so I wouldn't have to bust my ass when I'm like breaking my ass anyway.
Yeah, this,
You know,
one,
and
is, this one here is for you, Chris.
Yeah. My issue is we need to change those head gaskets on that truck. I'll be home from hospital soon. Okay. If you need us. Thanks, Daisy. Thanks, Jim. I know people are here for me. It's like the whole thing was when this whole ordeal started, I went to confide. I wasn't trying to talk shit. I know it came out that way. All I was trying to do was get advice because I can't talk to the person that I'm wanting to talk to because we're not seeing eye to eye. All right. I don't know where that whole fucking shit like fell off the world with us, but I've always communicated. I've never held important things back. I've hid my addiction because I don't want to be, you know, looked at as a druggie because I'm not, you know. I have mistakes. We all make mistakes, and I'm not proud of it. I'm very ashamed of it, to be honest. And like, I would like to talk to the person that I love very much and be able to have a conversation and not blame each other for everything under the sun that are very petty little things. Like, I'd rather fight about her hanging out with other men than me smoking a cigarette. You know, I would rather fight about, you know, her not picking up after herself in the kitchen than me smoking a bowl of weed or something. You know, let's keep it clean around here. Like, I don't have a problem with taking a puff. It doesn't bother me, but it bothers them. And so they bother me with it because it's bothering them, and then that's triggering me. So me smoking triggers them, and then in turn they trigger me.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I like what
Does that make
Daisy
sense?
Temponi said. Lots of us have gone off course. Without my hard years, I'd not be who I am today. That's right. It's life's events that mold us into who we are today.
Shame is a useless emotion. It is. But when we naturally feel it like bad about what we've done, that is a good thing. I like feeling bad for when I fuck up because it shows that I am not narcissistic. I am not a monster trying to just bullshit my way through life. You know, it's hard to explain. Like, I like feeling bad for what I do wrong because it makes it helps me change.
We're at the top.
It helps me change.
We're at the top of the hour. We're gonna have to.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's been a pleasure having you here, Christopher Shira, Jim Andre, and everybody for watching. Thank you very much indeed. It's been a pleasure to have you near us.
Okay, everybody. We'll catch you on the next one.
Many be mores to everybody.
Thank you, Chris.